There's a lot of knowledge in those eyes, but no understanding. It's all about the mathematics versus the poetry of medicine.
It's the weekend. It's a weekend. It's not time for math.
Okay. I know we have a 4-day weekend.
Yeah, so
it's nice. We're going to get a lot of work done on the podcast. This is a dark movie.
Yeah.
Probably not for really young kids, but we'll get to that. Quite a horror pedigree to this movie. That means a lot of really talented people were involved in making it. So forget even Boris and Bella for a second. Who are we talking about here?
First off, it's based on a story by Robert Louis Stevenson. He wrote Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He seemed to like the ideas of doctors immersed in the darker side of medical progress.
Yeah, and it's produced by Val Lewton, who's one of the more famous of the kind of lesser-known Hollywood movers and shakers, but he produced a string of very successful horror films for RKO, partially due to the fact that they were all made for very little money. His most famous are probably Cat People and I Walked with a Zombie.
Which is a great song.
Yes, it is. And it's directed by the great Robert Wise, who also did The Day the Earth Stood Still, The Haunting. He did West Side Story.
And The Sound of Music.
How about that?
Yeah.
You need one more credit for Bobby Wise?
No.
How about he edited what is widely considered to be the best film of all time? Citizen Kane. Anybody?
I don't know that one.
Holy smokes.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, well, that's because I've been doing a terrible job of parenting you. You should know that one, and you will. It's got the guy from Dr. Phibes, Joe Cotton. So
I'm listening.
Yeah. Then we've got Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi as the sort of icing on the cake of this movie.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine anything could go wrong with these incredible people teaming up for this. But tell us about it.
Well, it's 1831 in Scotland, and established, well-to-do Dr. McFarland takes in one of his students, Dr. Fettis, who doesn't have enough money to continue with his schooling, to be his new apprentice and to keep him in school since he sees potential in Fettis, perhaps a different kind of gift than even McFarland has himself. McFarland immediately enlists the young man's help in diagnosing a little handicapped girl who cannot walk as a result of an accident. McFarland, while intrigued with the case, cannot offer his assistance because he's too busy with his teaching duties at the college.
One night, Fettis is awakened by a terrible delivery to McFarland's doorstep. A dead body freshly unearthed from the local cemetery. The delivery man is Gray, Boris Karloff, playing a jolly but dark scoundrel type with just a wisp of dangerous snake-like charm. Horrible business, but business nonetheless in those days.
And the subject of much controversy.
Yeah, historically, and they talk about this in the movie, the Burke and Hare case. So William Burke and William Hare in 1828 in Scotland, there were these things called resurrection men who would take bodies from graveyards and deliver them. This is based
Oh my God.
This is really based on historical events inspired by a true story. So these resurrection men would take bodies from the graveyard and give them to doctors. So Edinburgh was a cultural epicenter for science at the time. And these guys committed 16 murders. So they stopped going to the graveyards and they just started killing people. So
that's insane.
That's what this movie was based on.
Oh my God.
Karloff even sings a little ditty about it.
Do you think that was ad-lib?
Lugosi. What, that song?
Yeah.
No. There's only one ad-lib in this movie that I think truly exists, and we'll get to it.
No, I wanna tell us. But McFarland, look, Toddy needs bodies for his research and for his teaching. I mean, this man's a doctor. I get his intentions, but
don't stand in his way. Give me corpses.
He refuses to let local customs, like burying the dead, prevent him from saving lives with the knowledge we could gain from studying their anatomy.
So how do you feel about that, Serling? it's obviously wrong to rob graves.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're stealing bodies and as a result of that, you're saving lives, doesn't that justify desecrating a grave every now and again? Come on.
But you live with the guilt of
Well, that's what this movie's all about, right?
Guilt.
We'll get
Just
to that.
With the guilt of...
The ending is steeped with McFarlane's guilt, right? We'll get to it.
I love the ending.
Oh, cool. Good. Okay.
And now McFarland, or Toddy, as Gray teasingly calls him.
He's got Fedez involved with the operation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Fedez pays the delighted Gray for his dark services.
The next day, McFarland and Fedez go into a pub at the same time. Gray is there, and he insists that they all sit down for a friendly little chat. It's revealed that the demonic Gray and the good Dr. McFarland have a bit of shady history.
Over a drink, Fedez convinces McFarland to perform the operation to help the little girl walk again, the little girl from the beginning. He agrees, but he's going to need a body to test out his intended strategy. So Fedez finds Gray and gives him the job. Gray, unable to get into the graveyard because they have guards out there now because he took the body the night before. So what does Gray do?
Murders a poor blind girl and delivers her. Fedez is absolutely horrified by this, and Joseph, the janitor of the doctor's basement lab, alas, overhears everything. Joseph tries to blackmail Gray and...
Yeah, now Gray has another body for the doctor's experiments.
That pretty much sums up Bela Lugosi's part in this movie.
Yeah. McFarlane operates on the young crippled girl and is successful, but she still doesn't walk. McFarlane is crushed and goes to the pub again to drink away his frustrations. There, he runs into Gray again.
And then we learn that Gray has held McFarlane prisoner because of what he knows about him and what he could do with what he knows. And that's just how Gray likes the situation, in control of everything. And that's just the way Gray likes the situation, in control of everything.
He won't be bribed away. He enjoys tormenting McFarlane too much.
It's sort of become his sole purpose.
Yeah, that's what he lives for. They get into a huge fight, and McFarlane manages to get the upper hand and kill Gray. He disposes of the body, but Fedez tracks him down to tell him the fantastic news that the little girl is able to walk. She just did on this very day.
Wow. His greatest positive achievement and his worst.
Yeah, right on top of each other.
Yeah.
McFarland, much encouraged by the news, is back and ready to teach again, ready to inspire young minds again.
Ready to rob graves again?
Unfortunately, yeah.
So, McFarlane talks Fedez into helping him dig up a townswoman who is freshly buried just hours before.
Delicious.
What?
Fresh.
What?
Nice and
You
fresh.
eat bodies?
Maybe.
Dad. They perform the deed, and as they're returning home, McFarland hears Gray's voice in the storm, swirling around them. You'll never get rid of me. He opens the sack, carrying the dead old woman they just stole. But it's Gray! White and lifeless, but yet seeming to reach out for McFarlane, preventing his hands from steering the carriage. They roll off a cliff.
Minus Fedez.
Yeah, he's okay. He checks the wreckage of the carriage. McFarland is dead. And the dead body in the sack? Why, it's just the old woman from town, of course. The end.
You and I should work together.
You mean we would sell the bodies to the doctors together?
To dig them up, there'll be no digging. The kirkyards are too well guarded. We will, so to speak, burk them.
Gray killed her.
We can't be sure of that.
I'm sure, and I mean to report it. Grave robbing is one thing, but this is murder.
You must leave this house.
I can't do that. You heard McFarlane.
Save yourself, Master Fedez.
Gray, I must be rid of you. You become a cancer, a malignant evil cancer, rotting my mind.
You'll never get rid of me, Tony.
Recommended age.
What are you going with?
11.
There are some sad, terrible moments in this.
Yeah, but there's not like gore and...
No, there's some off-screen violence, but there's some extended violent sequences on screen too. But it's mainly the story and the theme of the movie that I think could stand just a little maturity to fully appreciate. It may be a little complex for your little ones out there. You know, there's a lot of subtext going on between Gray and McFarlane, so you actually learn that lowly Gray is actually the one with all the power. I'm saying 13. And 13 is what I'm saying. 13 years old. Thank you.
Okay.
Go watch. Welcome back. Deep dive.
What's up? So this is the last film to pair the two, Karloff and Lugosi.
Yeah, they did 8 movies together. So this book ends neatly with The Black Cat from earlier this season because that was their first. So we're doing their first and their last. All in the Bees.
Well, what is that? What is that?
Yes!
What is it?
I hate you.
No, you don't.
Stop.
You love me and you love that clip.
You should really...
Why don't you stop pretending that
You
you don't
should
love...
really beware.
Beware of what?
Beware of the blob.
My
Damn it, I
obsession with
fell
this
right
clip.
for it.
Ah.
Like a trap door.
I'll never stop. Bela Lugosi isn't given much to do, unfortunately,
It is a little bit of a bummer.
but he still leaves a huge impression
Yeah,
and impact.
hopefully someone will give him a little spotlight love this ep. I'm not telling you how to lead your life, but... So what were Karloff and Lugosi up against in 1945?
Dead of Night,
Okay.
Fog Island,
Long Island. I'm not going to know a lot of these, I don't think.
Hangover Square.
Hangover Square?
Here's another one with Boris Karloff, Isle of the Dead.
Isle of the Dead, that's another Val Lewton.
House of Dracula.
All right.
Ding, ding, ding. He came, Mommy. He came. It's the Bellman.
What do you mean?
The Bellman.
Oh, I like your Tales from the Crypt reference, though. The Bellman. That doesn't sound very scary.
You guys at home really shouldn't be sleeping on your pillows because there's, the pillow of death.
Oh, of course, The Pillow of Death.
Yeah.
Is that really a movie?
Yeah,
It's called
it
The
is.
Pillow of Death.
I'm guessing that it's a pillow with mouth.
All right.
The Jade Mask.
Uh-huh.
The Phantom Speaks.
Wow, I know none of these.
The Jungle Captive. And,
Give me one I know other than House of Dracula. I'm feeling lame.
you know when we were going to that Broadway show and we saw Zombies on Broadway? That's a movie.
You made that up.
No, it's not. Look, it's right there on my...
Zombies on...
Look right here.
Well, I see it written down in your scroll.
Do you not see it?
It's this codswallop. Get that away from me. Zombies on Broadway.
What? It's a movie.
So clearly, I think what we're saying is Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi did not have much competition this year. And that's good because this movie made money. It was successful. And it helped solidify the career of Val Lewton, too. Let's talk pluses. What did you like about this movie? So you said you liked the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about the ending did you like?
I thought it was just really... It leaves an impact because you think that...
Were you expecting it to be Karloff in that sack?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
Karloff does a good job of being just a lifeless body.
Yeah, it's just like...
That ending's creepy to me. I think the acting's especially good. Henry Daniell, who he died 20 years after this. He plays Toddy, but he died while making My Fair Lady.
No.
Yeah, during the making of that. But I mean, Karloff is so fantastic in this. I think it's my favorite of his roles.
I love the writing.
Oh yeah.
The dialogue and the scenes with Gray just toying.
Oh yeah, like unraveling McFarlane.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's exquisitely shot. The cinematography is really good. The use of shadow is really
the
amazing.
lighting.
Especially
There's a
during
lot
that
of
fight
shadow.
scene where McFarlane and Gray are fighting, and you don't know who wins. You just see someone's shadow rise up, and you're not sure whether it is Gray or it's McFarlane.
I love the subplot.
Which subplot?
You know, with the little handicapped girl.
Oh, yeah, Georgina. That's the device that sort of offers salvation to McFarlane, but he ignores it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Who do you think she would put a spotlight on?
Bela Lugosi.
Talk to me about Bela Lugosi. I'm glad you chose him to be your spotlight because
All right, let me get
he does
Georgina
get
in here.
kind of short shrift in this movie. So there wasn't a part for Lugosi initially, and then someone said, hey, you should put Lugosi in this to sort of have a double threat with him and Karloff. So they wrote the part of Joseph for Lugosi, but it was sort of after they were already in production. So
Bela Lugosi made only 18 films.
really, that's surprising.
He made 8 with Karloff, and then 10
Without. That's just good math.
And he was buried wearing a Dracula cape and his full costume.
Yeah, he was a little crazy at the end. You know what his last movie was that he died in the middle of making?
What?
It's called Plan 9 from Outer Space. And a lot of people think it's the worst movie ever made. So we talk Citizen Kane. Plan 9 from Outer Space is widely recognized as the or one of the worst movies ever made.
Bela fought in World War I. And when Lugosi made his Broadway debut in 1922, he barely knew any English at all.
Yeah, he had to learn to speak English phonetically. And then he was in the theatrical version of Dracula, and they initially wanted Lon Chaney Sr. to play Dracula, but he died of cancer. So then all right, let's go with our second choice, Bela Lugosi. Can you imagine anybody else playing Dracula?
No. Just no. Minuses.
Minuses, this doesn't really violate any of my basic horror movie pet peeves. So, like pacing, writing, suspense building, special effects. The guy who plays Fettes isn't any Larry Olivier by any means, but he's surrounded by other great performances, so I can look the other way. What about you? Do you not like anything about this?
I got a bit bothered by the music.
I didn't really notice the music one way or the other. I very much really like this movie a lot.
I just felt like during that fight scene going down with Gray.
It's pretty dramatic music, I guess, during that.
I kind of just wanted to hear the fire crackling in the background and a body dropping on the floor. And then
That might have been nice.
Yeah.
Boy, that fight scene, we're going to get to it, but it's a little nuts.
SGS moments?
Yeah, so did Serling get shocked, scared, suspensified at all?
No.
Nothing?
Nope.
You know, parts of this movie had to be cut for its theatrical release in several states. Did you know that?
No.
Did you know that the Catholic National Legion of Decency called it morally objectionable due to excessive gruesomeness?
There's no...
And that was during a period of history that was pretty excessively gruesome.
Because of World War II?
Yeah. So maybe that's what made people more sensitive as opposed to being more inured or used to the violence. But nothing that even inspired a little shiver in you, eh?
Nope.
All right. Disappointed. Coolest kill?
3,
2,
1. The blind girl
in the alley. I thought you might go with Lugosi since he was your spotlight. But yeah, that scene is heartbreaking. It's not only a beautiful young girl, but she's singing like an angel when it happens and is just silenced. And you don't see any of it.
And it's cruel because she can't see anything.
I know. It
Probably
really
didn't know what was going on.
It really underlines what a demon Gray is, right? But yeah, that's maybe one of my favorite kills in a horror movie. Now, Lugosi's death is pretty great too.
True.
But especially, and here's the only improv moment, the cat. Bela Lugosi's lying there on the floor. The cat comes up and just nuzzles against his hand. I can't imagine that they had an animal trainer making him do that. So, good job, brother. I think that's what the name of the cat was. And that's what Karloff calls it. Fight, flight, freeze.
Oh, who will fight? Who'll be given a fight? And who's just probably gonna freeze?
All right, I'll take
Music and
fight
lyrics by Eric Bachmann.
McFarlane. I was talking about
yes.
this. So that fight scene is really long. It might rival the one in They Live between Roddy Piper and Keith David. Yeah, I haven't shown you that yet. It's crazy, but I like the way it all resolves and who came out on top. You don't know because it's all in the shadows. How about Flight?
Fettus.
Oh yeah.
Remember, he tries to run away from all the horror he's experienced.
Yeah, McFarlane's wife sort of encourages him to get out of there.
Yeah,
he does.
He's drawn back into the story through Georgina's recovery.
Yeah.
Freeze.
Any free?
I'm gonna say maybe the blind girl.
Yeah, but she doesn't know what's going on, so she doesn't even know she's in danger, and you don't see any of it. So she disappears in the dark alley. Then Gray's coach disappears following her. And you hear her singing, and then and you hear nothing. So you don't know what happens. Bella kind of freezes right before.
Well, he's halfway drunk on his bed.
It's a great scene. I know Bela Lugosi isn't in it much, but that scene with him and Karloff is pretty great.
I suppose they would have gotten, like a bit hungry during the little operation. They might have.
You think they take a snack in the middle of an operation?
Yeah, they might have taken some tomatoes, or even better, tomatoes.
You think they're eating tomatoes?
Yes.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yes.
Tomato time, where we check the movie rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
I say 72.
That's your guess, 72 for Body Snatcher.
Actually, 82.
86. Same rating as Gremlins. Same rating as Sweeney Todd.
Yeah!
I know, you like that one. Same rating as A Clockwork Orange. I would put Clockwork Orange a little above this. Same rating as Planet of the Apes.
The original?
I hate every ape I see. If you don't know what we're talking about, shame on you. Also, First Blood, Confess, Fletch, which is the third of the Fletch movies. I stopped after the second one.
How many are there?
3. And the same percentage as The Evil Dead, the original.
Ooh.
Do you want to go one higher or one lower than this on Rotten Tomatoes?
Lower.
Okay. One lower at 85%. The Batman. Cyrano, the one that we watched with Peter Dinklage.
Yay!
And Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
No. Undeserving. No.
You think it should be higher or lower?
Lower.
Oh, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs was okay. One higher than this. Bob's Burgers, the movie, baby.
Yeah! Deserving!
I don't know if it's better than this, but I like that movie. Wreck-It Ralph.
No.
Slither, which is a cool horror movie that we'll definitely watch. And
Is
The
it
Dark
about a giant
Knight
snake?
Rises. It's about these slugs from outer space.
Ooh. Yeah.
Fearometer.
5. Actually, no, 4.
That's what I gave it. 4. I do think it's genuinely creepy. So take that into account. Funometer.
5.
I'm giving it a 7 just because of Karloff's performance, because you get that cool interplay with him and Lugosi. It's a dark story, but it's a fun ride watching it. How about the Impactometer?
2.
Why so low?
Oh, no. It didn't impact me a lot. I wasn't changed by it.
So, but think about Val Lewton. So this is the first of 3 movies that Karloff did for Val Lewton. And Karloff, by this time, by 1945, people were like, is he kind of past his prime? He's just playing Frankenstein's monster over and over again. So Karloff might not have had the legacy that he had unless he had this little burst of momentum that these Val Lewton movies gave him in his career in the mid-40s. So I'm going high on this just for that reason. I'm going 9.5. I'm dropping my mic. No, I'm not. It's expensive.
I'll drop mine.
No, that's expensive too. My SM57.
Oops.
One word review and why. How would you sum this movie up in one word?
Suspenseful. Because there's that fight scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's the blind girl death, which is really suspenseful because you know he's going to kill her, but it's just so cruel.
And the end's a little suspenseful with what's going on in that carriage. And it is kind of suspenseful because, all right, you know Gray has the upper hand, but how is this going to play out? It's got to shift at some point.
Yeah. What about yours?
I'm going to go dark
dark, yeah.
It's based on really dark historical fact, and it's dark because of the shadows used. It's dark subject matter. There are pretty dark performances in it. Yeah.
Next time on DDSH DD Spod, you probably realize that this episode didn't match up with last episode's. Next time on DDSH description.
Yeah, not at all. We were gonna do 1981's Blood Beach.
I hear the sighs of disappointment from our audience, Dad.
Ignoring that. But I couldn't find it anywhere except on YouTube, and it was pretty poor quality. So we skipped that. And then we skipped another. Well, we've actually skipped half a handful this season. But now we're here.
Wait,
right?
What else did we skip?
We skipped Black Christmas. We skipped Blood on Satan's
Why did
Claw.
we skip Black Christmas?
It's a little adult. We skipped Bay of Blood because we were already doing a Mario Bava.
Well, anyway, we're gonna make up for some of those skipped flicks with another Crowbar episode.
Yeah, the idea was to only do this once a season, but since we have some skipovers, we're going to crowbar in and create a true trilogy. So we're going to have 3 Karloff classics in a row about to hit you.
So stay connected, stay tuned, like us, review us, and subscribe.
Thanks and bye. Oh, don't do that.